Another week, another video. On today's agenda, New England clam chowder. I love me some clam chowder. I hope you guys do too. I'm looking forward to today's episode because I really want to chow down on some clam chowder. So hit that subscribe button and let's get started here on Cook! Don't be lazy. So I'm going to take my 5-quart Dutch oven. You don't need a Dutch oven. You can use a medium-sized pot if you wish. This is what I'm going to use. It's a 5-quart Dutch oven. I'm going to set the stove to a 6. And I'm going to fry half a package of bacon. While that's cooking, let's move on to the next step and prep. For starters, on the prep work, we'll need about 2 dozen clams. I'm using some pre-cooked steamed clams. I got these at the, well, you can see where I got them from. Anyways, I opened up the package. They were frozen. I thawed them out. They come in a shell. Just take the clam out of the shell, toss the shell, and what we're gonna do with the clams, we're just gonna kind of give them a rough chop. A quick rough chop. We want small chunks. The clam itself is already small, but we want little chunks in our clam chowder, just like that. What you also need to do, let me move this guy out of the way. We need to take a red potato. Now, I'm reminded of Mr. Phillips because Mr. Phillips does not like regular potatoes, so I hear him in the back of my head, use a red potato. Alright, so I'm going to use baby red potatoes for Mr. Phillips. And I'm just going to dice them up into little pieces. So, take care of that. Another thing we need to do, take some celery. Take about 2 sticks of celery. 2 to 3 sticks of celery. And chop them up into little pieces. Take an onion. I'm using a yellow onion. I cut about half, and I cut that into little pieces. And I believe that's about to the extent of our prep work here. Let's get back to our bacon. We want to fry up this bacon. Hopefully you were stirring while we were doing prep work. We're going to take this bacon off. And we're going to keep the grease. Grease's flavor. So we're going to get as much of this bacon out because we don't want overly burnt bacon, because we're going to still use this grease in here. We're not going to get rid of the bacon fat. Alright. Take your celery. Throw that in there. Take your onion, throw that in there. We're going to let this cook down for about 5 minutes. About 5 minutes later, I'm going to take some minced garlic. I'm going to take about a spoonful. This ain't a regular spoon. Just eyeballing it. About a spoonful and a half of garlic. Give that a stir. Next thing we need a cup, actually a half a cup of all-purpose flour. It's gonna turn chunky. It almost looks kind of like a, it reminds me of stuffing for Thanksgiving. How do I get this chunks out of here? Get out. I never said I was a professional cook. I'm just like most of you guys. I experiment a lot. And whatever happens, happens. Alright. This here is clam juice. It's 8 fluid ounces. And that's what I'm using. I need 3 of these guys. So 8, 16, 24 ounces of clam juice. I don't know if they come in bottles smaller than this, but this is an 8-ounce bottle. That's what I found, so that's what I'm using. Basically, I'm trying to break up some of those stuffing chunks that I referred to a minute ago. Alright. Next thing, throw in our potatoes, our baby reds. We need 3/4 cup of water. That's close enough to 3/4 cup. We're going to give this another stir. Alright, we're almost done. We're almost done. Take a bay leaf. And I'll throw in 2 bay leaves. I also need some milk. So I'm using whole milk. We're going to let the potatoes cook down for about 15 minutes or so. Actually, I almost forgot. Heavy cream, 2 cups. Man, I'm slacking. 2 cups, heavy cream. I always show you guys what I'm using. That's what I'm using. 2 cups of heavy cream. Almost forgot about that. Alright. Now we can let the potatoes cook for about 15 minutes or so. So there's a reason why we want to cut those potatoes into little teeny tiny pieces. The larger the pieces, the longer they're going to take to cook. So if you cut them up into teeny tiny little pieces, we're only looking at about a 10-15 minute cook time during this stage before we move on to the next step. So let's drop our stove to a 2. Let's get our clams, chopped up clams. Get that in there. Give it a stir. We need some salt. Now the salt and pepper, which we're going to add right now, strictly to taste. So you're going to want to finger taste it, whatever you want to do, until you're happy with the salt and pepper content. Puff, 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 puff. Eyeballed it. Now we also need a little bit of ground thyme. A good puff, which is about a tablespoon. And I'm going to throw in some parsley flakes. Give it a stir. Oh my gosh, this looks so delicious. Alright, so now that we dropped the temperature down a little bit, I'm spilling everywhere. We're going to cover this up and let it simmer for another 15 minutes. Might not even take 15 minutes. Remember, we're only concerned about these potatoes. The clams are already cooked. So if you have small potatoes, 15 minutes on the first go around, the second go around here where we added the clams, maybe 10 minutes. If you have larger pieces, go towards that 15-minute mark. Now, the bacon, we kind of forgot about the bacon. We're not going to throw the bacon into this clam chowder because we're going to end up with soggy bacon. Instead, we're going to use that bacon as a topping when we plate up. Speaking of which, time to plate up! I guarantee if you like New England clam chowder, you're going to enjoy this recipe. Not like those restaurants who serve you what appears to be watered down milk. This is full of chunks, creamy and thick. You're going to enjoy this. That's a guarantee. So as I've always said, hit that subscribe button. I put out a video each and every single week. So until next week, cook! Don't be lazy.